I know I was out, got the COVID coverage, $600, which really helped me until we got called back to work. But now my daughter and her roommates are facing the fact that they could be evicted soon.
For several months now, the U.S. government has provided $600 a week in unemployment insurance. On top of normal payments, 4.1 million Americans lost their jobs between the first and second weeks of July alone, making up a total of 51 million people who have lost their jobs since the start of the pandemic. Senate Republicans are pushing a $1 trillion relief package that would cut the additional unemployment benefit down to only $200 and provide a range of benefits to businesses. Republicans are also not, as of yet, including protections for renters in their proposal, but have included some absurd measures like $686 million for new F-35 fighter jets, part of what some estimate to be $7 billion in weapons spending, in a so-called coronavirus relief bill. And in May, House Democrats approved the $3 trillion HEROES Act that would extend the $600 benefit until the end of the year and give nearly $200 billion for rental assistance and mortgage relief. Both proposals include another round of $1,200 checks. 82% of Americans believe that a one-time stimulus check of $1,200 from the CARES Act was not enough to pay for living expenses in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Instead of a one-time check, the majority of those polled say that stimulus checks should continue throughout the duration of the pandemic. The debate in Congress over relief for working and poor people in the U.S. stands in stark contrast to the $4.5 trillion that was quickly funneled into the financial system via the Federal Reserve. This all paints a clear picture as to whose interests are really being looked after by politicians in Washington. I hit the streets of Midtown Manhattan to speak with people on their thoughts on the proposed relief bills, how the pandemic has impacted them personally, and what they believe working people need the most in this time.
So I actually ended up losing my job, my apartment, most of my belongings. Right now I'm hustling, trying to look for a teaching job in a system where we don't even know if schools are going to be open.
I think they should extend it for the simple fact that jobs is not opening. And as an everyday American, and this is terrible. I was currently working in the pandemic, but I got laid off for like certain reasons, and it affected me heavily.
I'm a healthcare worker. I'm an occupational therapist, so I work in an acute care hospital. Non-essential, essential staff were laid off, and they have not gotten their jobs yet. I can tell you right now that in my profession, in the course of March to now, there are half as less jobs there are now than there were before. And most of us graduate with six-figure debt after graduate school. And our jobs are needed, but because there's not enough money out there to pay for it, they're not paying for it.
I know I was out, got the COVID coverage, $600, which really helped me until we got called back to work. But now my daughter and her roommates are facing the fact that they could be evicted.
And I have a lot of friends whose families are undocumented immigrants, so they can't really apply for like the benefits and stuff like that. So it's been really rough for them. So with the stimulus package, I have family members who just had to use it to pay for rent, just for 1 month.
People are going to still keep going out because they need to work. The virus is going to keep spreading. People are still going to keep dying, and this is going to last longer. So there are so many reasons beyond the basic humanitarian reasons to give people this money to survive, to live, to pay for their medications, which I'm not even going to talk about that. You need this to stop the spread of the virus. That's the basic answer. You want people to not go out, give them money, keep them in their house.
People need to be taken care of, and if they're not taken care of, until I don't know what's going to happen by the time the election time comes, whether that's going to totally change or not. But need to take care of the people now. If either way, Democrat or Republicans, they have to cover the people. That's who they're here for.
I think the government should, as long as the pandemic is here and is going on, I think it should go on for however long as far as the rent crisis. They should keep it going. They shouldn't cut it off so soon. You can't cut it off if you ain't solved the problem. So
I feel like the government is getting richer while the poor are getting poorer, and it has to stop because if you really think about it, the poor or the middle class is what really runs the world and what runs this country.
We spend more money in the military than 11 countries combined, and so they're really going to have to cut that thing down.
Doesn't it show something of society that people are making more money, being able to pay more things with the money the government's giving them than the money they should be making from their work? That's a problem. They're not a problem. The system is a problem.